Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl, Nicole Ryan with Lana Solutions, your debt diva. I am just getting into 2026, and I am trusting that this will air shortly. If not, it's a new year, you guys, so happy new year. I have really been getting on people about pulling all 3 credit reports. And I know that may sound easy, but you know what? Life continues to life. And so what we're going to have to do in this new year, we are really going to have to set aside some time for our finances. And I'm starting to find out more and more as I meet with clients and even in my own personal life. If I don't write it down, it does not happen. So what does that look like for you? You're going to have to find a day each month or each week when you're going to carve out a little bit of time for financial goals. And pulling your credit reports is one of the easiest things to do if you sit down and take your time and just go to annualcreditreport.com. Because what it's going to do is it's going to literally walk you through Equifax, TransUnion, and then Experian. So it's not going to hit you all at once. So we're just going to talk a little bit about credit today and some of the mistakes that people make after the new year. So even stepping into the new year, the biggest credit mistakes people make are not pulling their credit report and not finding out through Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian what their credit score actually is. And some people are so afraid of finances because they've either been raised to not really pay attention to finances, but just kind of go as you will and trust other people to do the work for you. Well, we're living in an age, you guys, where everything we do is contingent more and more on our credit profiles and, of course, our finances. So with that being said, we'll start with step number 1, which is, like I said, it's easy. If it's not easy for you, you have Consumer Credit Counselings of Nebraska. You have Lana Solutions. If you mention this show, I'd be more than happy to help you walk through it. But you're going to have to get online and you're going to have to go to annualcreditreport.com, and we'll make sure that we air this either with the credits. So after the show, you can look for it if you didn't have time to write it down. If you Google annualcreditreport.com and you check to see it says annualcreditreport.com and don't accidentally click on something else in Google, always check what web browser it's going to, or not web browser, but what web address it's going to take you into. Annualcreditreport.com will pop up, and then it's going to ask for some of your personal information. Super easy, like your name, your address, social security number, maybe a phone number, but then it's going to ask you which credit reports do you want to look at. And then you click all 3. So then it will take you to each one of those credit reports so you can look at them one at a time. So on the top, you may see TransUnion pop up. So when TransUnion pops up, it's going to welcome you, and then it's going to ask you some security questions just to make sure you are who you say you are. So it's for your protection. So once you get in there, once you're cleared to get in there, it's going to show you everything that's on your credit report. So you're going to see your name or names, depending on if you have aliases or if you've ever been married, or nicknames. You should see a list of your names. After your names, you're going to see addresses that you lived at. After that, you should see your employment history. So it will show different companies that you worked at. I believe it still shows your date of birth, but it will not show your social security number. Some may show the last 4, but you won't see the social security number. Then it will move into your trade lines. Now, once you get to this part, you really want to slow down because you're going to see, let's say, Capital One, Nebraska Furniture Mart, et cetera, et cetera. Whoever you've ever had credit from will be listed. And it's going to let you know the date you opened it. It's going to show you how high of a credit limit you had. And it's going to show if you owe and if you've been paying or not. I tell you to slow down at this part because this is where things can get a little tricky. Because just because you're familiar with the particular credit card, you have to make sure the information that they're reporting is accurate. All of that information ties into your credit score. And I'll say that again. All of that trade line information for each creditor ties in incrementally into your credit score. All right. And also, believe it or not, cumulatively, when you're dealing with the history of it, it holds 7 to 10 years of whatever that said creditor is reporting about you. So don't rush through that. And they even have little cheat sheets you can Google, excuse me, to identify what some of the codes mean as well. And Line Solutions will be doing a lot more credit education courses this year. So make sure you get signed up. If you're not following me on social media, please do, because you can link up with us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. We're on all social media platforms. You can Google us and connect and just DM or reach out to the show or call, whatever works for you. But make sure you get connected because like I said, in 2026, we're going to have to be intentional and we're going to have to plan to get more wisdom and understanding around our finances, or we're just going to vicariously live through 2026 like we did in 2025. So, okay, what are some of the biggest credit mistakes that people make? I have number one, closing old accounts thinking that it helps. Often that can hurt. Can you probably guess why it would hurt to close an account? Because a lot of people ask me this. Well, I have this one account on my credit report, but I never use it. And it's just been sitting on there. And then sometimes they would use it. It just depends on when they used it. But for whatever reason, they're not using it now. They feel like they don't really need it. Here's the thing with closing old accounts, especially do not do this right before you get ready to make a big purchase like a home, because that can hurt you. So closing old accounts thinking that it might help you often hurts. The reason it can hurt is because it carries 7 to 10 years of your history. And trusting that this history is probably good because you're not using it and you really don't have a need to use it as much now, closing it will clear all of that good credit history that ties into your credit score. So always keep that in mind before you just close an account, okay? Maxing out credit cards. Here's the second one. Maxing out credit cards during the holidays and ignoring the utilization. So a lot of times people think that as long as they're using the card that it's helping their credit. But what they fail to understand is that if your utilization is above 30%, I recommend keeping it below 10% just because of knowledge and experience and understanding. But if you are maxing it out and they go to report it for that particular month that they pull it and it's 100% maxed out, you can take a 2-digit, and I kid you not, you guys, I have seen credit scores drop 80 points or more because they maxed out credit cards. And when the creditor did their reporting to the credit bureaus for that month, they were up in the hundreds. And if you got to think, if you were maybe 10% utilization the month prior, that's a huge jump. So you can imagine why your score would drop so big and so hard. So please, before you make any major decision around your credit scores and thinking that you're helping them, you could be hurting them. So always connect with the right people and get the right information before just assuming anything. Here's another one, you guys. Paying collections without strategy, which can really reset the damage. So what does that mean? You feel like I've paid off the collection agency now, and my score should increase immediately, right? A lot of times it doesn't repair it immediately. You can get anywhere from 21 to 23 points back when you pay off the collection agencies. But once again, you have to keep in mind, if you're not negotiating some type of deletion or offset of all the collection items, the only thing you're repairing is the balance. And so what the balance does, of course, you want to decrease your balances so that you can increase your score. But don't think just because paying collections is going to help. You do have to have a strategy behind it, because you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. And I know a lot of people that will do the snowball plan, and they'll stop paying, or they'll even do an avalanche plan where you pay off the highest interest first. And with either one of those plans where you're eliminating, whether it's the highest interest creditor or the highest debt, you still have to have a plan. You can't, a lot of people think they can just stop without a plan. Well, I'm just going to pay everybody off one at a time. No, you have to make sure you have a strategy. And again, getting the education, the wisdom around it to do it the right way. You don't want to hurt yourself. Falling for quick fix credit repair scams. Now, I've been doing this for over 25 years, so you know when it comes to these quick fix credit repair scams, Lana Solution gets it, and I'll tell you why. Because we have clients that do come in and they assume, because of what they've seen on TikTok and what they've heard, or maybe even another person, a friend, a family member told them they did this with their credit and this worked. You have to understand that every single case is different. And even in my contracts, when people work with me, I let them know all cases vary. This is 7 to 10 years of history. And just because you paid off one creditor, your score might not jump up as high as the next person's score did. But I assure you, as long as you are working on debt elimination and you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, lenders and creditors, they see that and they know. And I think that's why with Lana Solutions, we've been able to help so many people. I'll tell you about a case we just resolved here. Recently, we had been going back and forth around some medical debt, possibly garnishment. So in and out of the courts, having to work on this particular debt. We were able to save the client almost $7,000. But here's the thing. When we sit down, and this is a train of thought that I would like for you to have because it will help it make sense when you're dealing with creditors. Collection agencies and banks and lenders are not the bad guys. Yes, there can be a lot of mishandling, misinformation, miscommunication around a lot of it. But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, you're dealing with people. So whether it's a collector or a banker or a loan officer, if you are able to realize that these are people on the other line when you're speaking with them or when you're writing to them, and be honest, I used to tell my collectors, you get more bees with honey, right? So what that means is try to have a heart for the banking industry versus, oh, these are the bad guys. They're loaning us money just so they can trap us, and then when we can't pay them, they're coming after us. No. A lot of this is business, so I go in with a business lens. And because I have a background in consumer finance and collections, I'm able to understand from both sides. And I said all that to say this. The wins that this company gets is because of justice and fairness. And as long as you have a plan, like we talked about as I started this show, you can succeed. But without a plan, you really do plan to fail, because you're vicariously trying to pay off debt. A lot of times you don't have the money to pay. But if you would slow down and create a plan and try to work with some of these lenders and these creditors, you would be surprised what they won't do for you. And the reason they'll do it is because you're their customer. And when they lose you because of bad debt and circumstances, even if it is ignorance where you just didn't know and you got yourself into a situation where you were not able to pay the bills back because it piles up, and you get so bombarded with so much debt and always trying to make ends meet that we can lose ourselves. And they know that and they understand that because unlike you, they're the lenders, they're the collectors. So they're talking to you, all of you, across North America, day in and day out. And so I have found, as you go on your debt elimination journey and your credit education and credit repair journey, when you're working with these associates, yeah, they can be very nasty because they have goals that they have to meet all the way up through management, or they can be fired about every 90 days, right? There's so much that goes into play. So if you get someone that's not being nice, just see if you can maybe hang up and call back, ask to speak to a manager, but just realize, bring down the defense mechanisms and realize this is business. And when I say this is business, black and white, especially when I'm in court and when I'm dealing with attorneys, you have a debt, this has now become a bad debt for them, and you both are trying to get this eliminated because it's going to affect both of you. So just look at it as business, stay cordial, stay kind, and I assure you, you too will be able to raise your credit score and eliminate debt with that strategy like we were talking about. So make sure when you're paying those collections to raise that credit score, don't fall for any type of quick fix, but do have a strategy. And if you need help, if you've been watching this show, you know who to call, okay? Now here, this is just giving you a little bit of feedback around some of these myths, these credit myths. It's always good to get a second and sometimes third reputable opinion, all right? Don't be afraid to go to the Better Business Bureau, Google, look at the reviews, hear what people are saying, because sometimes they're not all going to be right. But if you got 3, 4, 5 people saying the same thing, at some point you may want to back up and see if you can get help. And always go, you can go through the state and trust, places that are with the state of Nebraska, and for the most part have been around for many years. They've been around for a reason, which leads me into my segue here. So here at Lana Solutions, in the financial industry, like I mentioned earlier, we've been in business for over 25 years. We do a lot of free seminars. We do a lot of connections and collaborations with nonprofits here, Urban League, Chariots for Hope, and I can go on and on. And then we have for-profit organizations that also do a lot of free education. So get the education, get the wisdom, you guys, this year. Get the knowledge, okay? Which debts to tackle first when you're raising a credit score? I'm going to be honest with you, over the last 25 years, as I have watched credit scores go up, down, and all around, the algorithm is paying it down, period. If you have a balance, pay it down. If it's not your balance, work with that lender or that creditor and validate the debt, always get proof, and then try to work something out to get it paid. The sooner you can get it paid, the sooner that credit score will go up. Try not to close accounts because you need to have a good mix of credit. It shows the lenders that not only have you had loans, credit cards, and different type of credit for a number of years, but you've been able to maintain it. Another thing that I can tell you about credit, if you are in a season where you have lost your job, you've lost a loved one who was the breadwinner, the main source of income for your family, you're experiencing bankruptcy, etc., etc., Don't worry if your score takes a hit. Also, if you are snowballing and you have got in a position where you don't have income and you haven't really been able to pay everybody off, and you did have to stop because you're in the middle of possibly filing bankruptcy, you're going to take a hit. Don't start freaking out when your credit score drops, because the same way that credit score was up there, it can get right back up there and even higher. Also, lenders are looking at the 7 to 10 year algorithm, even if it is AI, right? They're still able to read and say, oh, what happened here in July 2025? There's something going on that hasn't normally happened. They can read that. So don't you start to fret or fear. You just work on getting up out of it so you can get everybody paid again and get everything taken care of. And thank God in America, if it takes too long, you can file bankruptcy. And it's unfortunate, but it does happen to the best of us, all right? And that goes for you business owners too. Sometimes you just have to start over. But one thing I could tell you in 2025, stop the spending. Spend means to throw out. It's okay to wear the same clean clothes. For my women, jewelry and purses and shoes. You don't have to have a brand new outfit with every blow of the wind. But what we do have to do, we have to sit down and we have to figure out our finances so that we don't have to carry that in 2026. One thing I love the most about my clients, and when I tell you my clients come in crying, they come in mad, they come in hopeless, they come in confused a lot of times, but before they leave that office, they have a plan, and that plan gives them hope. So whether you're working with DaveRamseySolutions.com, who also has a lot of free education around credit, Susie Orman, Gary Cassee, I can go on and on. There are so many reputable folks you can follow and attach yourself to, if you will, this year. So if you don't get anything, you get education and small wins. The small wins. I used to have people that would call in, let's say, because we had everyone, you guys. We had Citibank, we had USAA, we had American Express, we had Nebraska Furniture Mart, I can go on and on. I've worked for so many different collection agencies, and what I found, and they were some of the largest collection agencies in the world. And what I found out with the consumer, that's why I do what I do at Lana Solutions, is that the majority of you wanted to pay your bills. There weren't too many people that just were trying to get over on not paying their bill. And that is what really gave me the biggest heart to start working with people to eliminate debt and to raise their credit score, because I was finding out it was more ignorance than sabotage, than where people are like, yeah, I'm just out to not pay people. No. But what happened is you build up a defense, and you would get angry when the bankers and the collectors would come after the money you now owe. And the collectors would get angry, and the attorneys would get angry, and there would be anger, and then that's when everything would stop and people would stop getting paid. So I'm dishing out hope. When Lana Solutions would come in, we're coming in like light, you guys, for profit and nonprofit. And with that being said, it's education, it's wisdom, it's understanding. So finding out that you want to pay, that right there alone is hopeful. When you sit down and carve out a plan and then you can see how you can pay, that's victory before it's already won. So I kind of got on you a little bit about credit today, but I want you to slow down. I want you to pull all 3 credit reports, right? And get away from the myths, get facts, okay? So do your homework, take some time. Find out what the Fair Isaac credit score is and maybe how all of this even came about. It can be fun, you guys. If you don't want to go dive that deep into it, don't worry about it. That's probably just for me and all of my other number crunchers who like to know everything about the financial world. But have fun with it this year. have more income and cash flow coming in than going out. Don't be afraid to look at all your bank statements from 2025 or your credit card statements and be honest with yourself and highlight, hey, we shouldn't have spent that much this Christmas. Hey, why did we go on that vacation in 2025 when we could have paid down our mortgage? I want you to really be honest with yourself. I want you to create a plan. And if you need help, continue to watch us on KPAO, Nicole Ryan, your girl, your debt diva with Lana Solutions, okay? You can reach me at 402-817-3049. And if this happens to get to you outside of Omaha, Nebraska, 1-888-568-6312. We are here for you. We've been doing this for over 25 years. And our core values are trust, experience, and results. And you can look us up, you guys, on the Better Business Bureau, on Google, or anywhere else. You need to connect with people this year concerning your finances, folks you can trust. Have an amazing 2026, and I'll see you next time.